That is, so applications to flow problems and field problems. Right? So flow problems and field problems, meaning the flow problems are nothing but the fluid flow. Whenever there is a liquid flow that is going to happen, or actually the gases flow also, if it is going, then actually what is the behavior of that particular flow? That is, what is the velocity of the particle, what is the direction of the particle, and what basis actually it is moving. All such kind of analysis if you want to do, and that is nothing but what we call as the flow problem. And the field problems are nothing but, so if you take any particular field, so usually actually we talk about the summary of the fields is the gravitational fields, then actually electric fields, magnetic fields, and then actually, so these are sufficient. So electric fields, gravitational field, and magnetic fields are the most popular fields that you can think of. A field is nothing but, suppose actually when we learn about the force, right? So suppose if you talk about the force, now actually what we say is there is a force of magnitude 10 newtons that is applied on this particular body at this particular point in this particular direction. That is how actually you specify a force. So force is having three important factors: the magnitude of the force, direction of the force, and the point of application of the force. Now, if the point of application is not known and the point of application can be felt everywhere, then such kind of force is called as a field. That means, suppose if I take this particular pen, if I leave it here, actually it is dropping down here. Now, if I move to this particular location and then actually if I leave this pen, again actually it is dropping. Suppose if I move to this location and then if I leave it, then automatically it is dropping. Suppose actually if I am in USA also, it is dropping. If I am in Kenya also, it is dropping. That means, where is the point of application of the force? It is everywhere throughout the earth. That means there is some kind of field. So this actually we quantify as the field. That means the influence can be felt everywhere. And that kind of force is called as a field. And the same thing can actually even be felt with the fluid flow also. Suppose if there is a fluid that is moving in this particular direction, now there is a fluid, this is moving in this direction. Now here actually the field, actually this entire lines of force is called as the field. All these lines of force together we call as the fluid field, right? So this is called as the fluid field. That means the influence is there everywhere. Such kind of scenario is called as the field. Now, coming back to our discussion, why we were talking about this field and flow problems in this particular context is, now these two are always interrelated to each other. Now actually I will come back to the same example what we have taken as the gravitational field. Now suppose actually if I leave this pen, it is actually dropping, right? Just a minute. Yeah, Rahul, I'll come back to that point. So you and we may be having different constants, may not be having different constant, but each constant will be specific to one particular curve. Suppose if there is one curve like this is having C1, there is one more curve, this is having C2, and one more curve with C3. And similarly, there is one V curve which is perpendicular, and this is having, let us say, B1, and there is one more curve, B2. Now actually these two are always orthogonal to each other. So different values will have different curves. So random constant C will be a family of the curves. I hope you understood. Right? Now coming back to our flow problems. Now actually we take this same simple case. Now take this particular pen, and then actually if you leave it, then actually it is going down. Now why it has to go down? Why can't it go horizontally? Now the concept comes from the fact that there is something called the potential. So potential. So potential is nothing but ability, right? So this is the ability. Now what kind of ability what we have got here? The ability to go back to the ground. So that is the ability it has got. This pen has got the ability to go back onto the ground, right? How it has got that ability? Because actually I lifted to this particular location. There is always a force that is dragging towards the ground, hence actually it is going down. Now that means if I leave, so if I keep this pen here, it has got certain ability. Let us say now actually I am keeping this pen at a height of 5 feet. Then actually it has got the ability to move for a distance of 5 feet. Suppose if I leave to this particular location, let us say it is 6 feet, and then actually now it has got the ability to go back for a distance of 6 feet. Now this ability has got increased if I move this pen to a higher level. And then actually wherever I am keeping it, it is going to be associated with that amount of energy there. So that means that energy is called as the potential energy. So that potential energy, if I take this particular location, and this is one position A, and this is another position B, and this is another position C, and this is the ground position D. Now at this particular point, if I keep the pen, it has got the ability to go back to this ground for a distance of 1 meter, let us say. And this is again 1 meter, and this is 1 meter. So if I keep the pen here, then actually it is going down for a distance of 2 meters. Now, and then actually I take a parallel, and then actually I keep at this particular location. And again actually, so this is A dash, B dash, C dash, and D dash. Now if I leave the pen here, actually even then actually it is going to be 1 meter. And again actually if I leave the pen here, it is going for a distance of 2 meters. And again actually this is going to be of 3 meters distance if I leave at point A dash. Now in both the cases, if I notice, here also it has got the ability to go back by a distance of 3 meters, and here also it has got the ability to go back for a distance of 3 meters only. And B and B dash actually it has got the same ability. That means if I draw one more parallel here, exactly it follows the same principles. That means I can draw a line here, I can draw a line here, I can draw a line here, and then actually at this point, and this point, and even if you draw any number of lines actually, so at every point it will be having the same ability to go back to 3 meters. And at every point on this line, it has got the ability only for 2 meters. And at every point on this particular line, it has got the ability to go back for a distance of 1 meter. That means on this particular line, it has got the same ability. Hence, actually, it has got the same potential energy on this particular entire line. So this line is called as the equipotential line, because it has got the equal potential. Potential means ability. So it has got the equal potential on this particular line, and it has got the equal potential on this particular line. So all the horizontal lines can be called as equal potential lines or the equipotential lines, but the potential magnitude may be different. So here actually it has got the ability. Let us say I call this as P1, that is the potential energy at this point, and this is P2, and this is of P3. Now at every point on this particular line, it is having the same potential but of magnitude P1. And on this line, at every point, it has got the same ability, and every point it is equal, and it has got the potential energy of P2. And same is the case with P3. That means on the horizontal lines, these are equal. But if you notice, the flow is always perpendicular to these particular lines. So that means if I draw the horizontal line and the flow line is this one, that means if I leave the pen, it is coming down like this. It's not going this way, it's not going this way. And these two lines, if you notice, these are always perpendicular to each other. So at every point, actually, it will be always perpendicular to each other. That means the equipotential lines and these lines, so that is the direction of the flow, which is always downwards in this particular case. So these two, the flow lines, downwards. Right? In this case, actually, it is downwards. Equipotential lines and the flow lines always forms an orthogonal system. So this is very important to understand. So equipotential lines and flow lines always forms an orthogonal system. An orthogonal system. And actually, we just noted that with the help of Cauchy-Riemann equations, So W is equal to U of X comma Y is plus I times of V of X comma Y, and these two U and V always forms the orthogonal system. That's what we just proved that for any analytic function. That means here in this particular case, if U represents the equipotential functions, then actually the V automatically represents the flow function, right? So U is the equipotential lines, then obviously V will be the flow function. And if V is the flow function, V is the equipotential function, U will be the automatically the flow function. So that is vice versa. So one is the flow and another is the equipotential. And this scenario is applicable for all the field problems, whether it may be a gravitational field or the electric field or the magnetic field. But the fields may be different. This is very easy to understand, this gravitational field. Suppose if you take the electric field and there is one charge here, and from this charge actually the field lines actually always will come out. The meaning of field lines coming out is field lines are only the imaginary lines. So these are not physically present. But why do we draw these field lines is, here actually there is a charge of magnitude Q. If you keep 1 coulomb charge at any place, if I keep 1 coulomb charge here, it will throw in this direction. If it is of the same sign. If I keep the same 1 coulomb charge here, then actually it will try to throw in this direction. If I keep it here, it will throw in this direction. So these are actually imaginary lines drawn which shows the direction of that 1 coulomb charge to be moved in that particular direction due to the influence of this charge. So these are all the force lines now. So these are all the force lines. Obviously, as there is a force line, you are expecting a potential as well. That means if I keep the charge here, it has got the ability to move more distance. If I keep the charge here, it has got the ability to move lesser distance. If I keep it here, actually it will be very less. If I keep it here, actually it's not having the influence at all. That means it has got different abilities at different points. Obviously, that ability is nothing but the potential. Hence, actually, the equipotential lines will be the circular lines like this. Now, the field lines and the equipotential lines, if you notice, if you draw a tangent here, obviously it will be perpendicular to this. And if you draw a tangent here, it will be perpendicular to this. So that means in this case, these circles represents the equipotential lines. And these lines represents the force lines or field lines, right? And then actually sometimes these equipotential lines can even be called as equipotential surfaces. Why? Because see this, if I take my hand like this, then actually at every point on this hand, you will be having the potential exactly the same because this is a horizontal surface. So I can draw a line and I can say that there is an equipotential line, or I can show my complete palm and then actually I can still say that this is an equipotential surface because at every point on this particular surface actually it will be having the same potential. Got it? So this is the basic concept that is involved in the case of the potential and the flow lines or the field lines. So flow lines are nothing but the field lines in case of the field theory. In the case of flow, actually the same flow lines. So these are nothing but the flow lines. So it can also be called as flow lines, or also be called as the streamlines also. So streamlines. So this terminology we will be using in the fluid dynamics. Right? So the field lines or the flow lines are one and the same, but the applications actually it is different. So this concept is used, the same field lines is treated as the streamlines in the case of fluid dynamics, but in the case of the fields, that is the gravitational field or the electric field or the magnetic fields, there actually we call that as the field lines. Got it? See, so these field lines are actually the imaginary lines in which direction actually it is going to be moving. So that is just the imaginary lines. These are not physically present. See this, suppose actually if I hold this pen and then if I leave it, then actually there is a direction it follows and it is going down. That means, but actually I am not drawing a line here. but you can still imagine that there is a line actually that is going, which is nothing but the force line of this particular body. I hope you understood, right? Okay. Now actually, coming back to our discussion, now see this. So in vector calculus, there is a concept called, so that is, if del cross E equal to 0, then E can always be represented as minus del V minus del phi. So this is a vector identity. So this proof actually we are going to do it in vector calculus. For now, you don't need to understand anything except for the fact that if del cross E is equal to 0, E can always be expressed in terms of minus del phi. E is equal to minus del phi, where del is equal to I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou z, right? So del phi is nothing but del phi is equal to I dou phi by dou x plus j dou phi by dou y plus k dou phi by dou z. Here, phi is a function of x comma y comma z. Phi is a function of x comma y comma z in the case of three-dimensional analysis. But in the case of fluid dynamics, actually we will be analyzing only the planar flows. Hence, actually, this is usually discussed to the extent of only the two dimension. That is, I dou phi by dou x plus j dou phi by dou y. Right? So this is how actually we express. Why this negative sign is? So at this particular stage, if you notice, here the potential energy is higher when compared to the potential energy at this particular stage. But the flow, if you notice, from the higher potential to the lower potential, it is moving. So that means in the decreasing direction of the potential, actually, this is moving. Hence, actually, this will be always be a negative sign. So the force direction is opposite to the increasing direction of the field or the increasing direction of the potential. And this function phi is called as the potential function. Right? So this is called as the potential function. So that means this phi actually called as the phi of x comma y in two dimension. So this is called as the potential function. Right? Now actually why we are discussing this potential function here is the whole concept of this potential is coming from the fact that the flow is actually, if it satisfies del cross E is equal to 0, the way we are going to analyze is completely different if it is not satisfying that equation. That means in the entire fluid dynamics, actually whatever we are going to study, we are going to study only two different kinds of flows. One is the potential flow, and the second one is the vortex flow. Only these two kinds of flows actually that we are going to analyze in the case of fluid dynamics, at least for the fact that actually UPSC syllabus is limited to only these two kind of flows. Now, what is potential flow and what is vortex flow? Suppose if there is a flow that is due to the potential energy difference, hence actually that flow is called as the potential flow. Now actually whatever the examples I have given till now, everything is related to the potential flow. But there are other cases also. That is, suppose if you take, so like actually thunders or actually, so in sea, right? In sea actually, if you notice, there are certain kind of curls. Curls meaning the water is actually flowing there only in a circular fashion. But here actually, if the water is actually continuously flowing, suppose if you look at from the top side, then actually, so this is moving in a circular fashion like this. And then actually there is no potential energy difference here. But still actually there is a force that is causing to move in a circular fashion. Hence actually these are called as the curly flow. And this curly flow is called as the vortex flow. Not vortex, vortex flow, right? So that means flow can be of two different kinds. One is the flow due to the potential difference, the flow due to the vortex. Now here actually, just a minute. Okay. So yeah, so like eddies are nothing but the vortex flow. So eddies itself are called as the vortex flow, and these are actually the potential flow. So I will explain this negative concept again. See this, why we treat that as minus of del phi is, see this, now actually if I am lifting this pen, it is increasing its potential energy. Of course it is understood, right? So if I'm lifting this pen, so this is going to acquire the potential energy. But the flow is nothing but if I leave this pen, actually in which direction it is moving? It is going downward direction. So vertically upwards is nothing but the increasing direction of the potential, but the flow is actually in the decreasing direction of the potential. Now E is nothing but the force and phi is nothing but the potential. And these two are always opposite to each other. That means if you increase the potential, but the flow is actually always going in the downward direction, right? So hence actually there will be a negative sign that is going to be associated always. E is equal to minus del phi, right? So that is just to show the direction of the flow, right? But the magnitude is del phi. Now, so the potential flow is nothing but due to the difference of the potential, due to the difference of the potential. If the flow is moving, then actually we call that as the potential flow. And the second one is the eddies actually that are moving in a circular fashion there only. That means it started from here, actually it is coming back to there only. So this kind of flows are called as the vortex flow. Now we have a methodology that actually we are going to discuss in the fluid dynamics, where this vortex flow also can be converted in terms of the potential flow with the help of the complex numbers. So this actually we are going to discuss there. So there will be a complex potential we can find out for this particular vortex, and that still be analyzed with the help of the potential flow. That means if you understand this potential flow completely, the entire fluid dynamics you will get the control, complete control you will get it. If you understand only the potential flow, right? And the relation to the complex analysis, how it is going to be. Now see this. So this is del cross E is equal to 0. And del is an operator which is a vector operator. And then actually this phi is a scalar function. Now the difference between vector function and the scalar function is, a vector function actually will always involve three different components. That means if I talk about any particular vector function which is dependent on x, y, z, and this is phi of x comma y comma z into I plus psi of x comma y comma z into z plus xi of x comma y comma z into k. See this, there are three different components that are involved in it, and each component is dependent on the position, that is x comma y comma z, and each component is having its own values at any location x comma y comma z. These values decides both the magnitude of this function and the direction of this particular function at that particular point, and this is called as the vector function. But here in this particular case, if you notice, phi of x comma y comma z is equal to constant, or phi of x comma y comma z is simply a single function not involving any vector components, and this function is called as a scalar function. So this is scalar function, this is vector function. Now the whole concept of this potential is coming from the fact that if del cross E is equal to 0, E can be expressed in this particular manner. That means here on the left side, if you notice, this is a vector. On right side, if you notice, this is a scalar. So I am converting a scalar into a vector with the help of the del operator. That means if I could able to analyze the flow pattern with the help of a single function rather than analyzing it three different functions, it will be far easier. That's exactly the reason why we brought in the potential into the picture here. So this potential has got the ability mathematically to bring a vector into a scalar with this particular relation provided del cross E is equal to 0, right? So that means all the complexity of this flow, because the flow actually we always have to be talking about the force lines. The force lines always the vector lines. So vectors but of infinite lines. That is a vector field. Vector field is nothing but the vectors involving the force, right? So that means the complexity is far high. that complexity we are bringing into a simpler level by converting into a scalar function. So this scalar function is called as the potential function. So that means if you are able to bring in an equivalent function which is equivalent to the vector in terms of the scalars, then actually our analysis will be far simpler. Hence actually we brought in this particular function of, that is the scalar function. Now this scalar function we can do it only when del cross E is equal to 0. So because there is a vector identity, if del cross E is equal to 0, then E can be expressed as minus del phi. Now keeping that in mind, and then actually the flow is divided into two different ways based on this understanding. One is the potential flow, another is the vertex flow. And as I said earlier, even the vertex flow also can be converted into the potential flow with the help of the complex numbers, because this can be modeled as a complex potential which can be analyzed with the help of the potential. Got it? I hope you understood till this particular fact. So if you understand everything clearly, then I will stop at this logical point. I will extend this discussion because actually it takes 1 more hour to cover that entire concept. After that, actually we'll actually go into the analysis. Fine? Yeah. Okay. So any questions, you can let me know now. Right. So I will extend this discussion tomorrow so that actually I can make use of the vectors and this complex analysis together, so that actually how we exactly use this particular concepts in the fluid flow. I'll try to derive the fluid velocity, and then I'll try to derive the equipotential functions, everything with the help of these vector identities. So then actually we will actually go into the problems related to the complex analysis. Yeah, that's all for today. Yeah, thank you.